morning, guys. So I'm back for another virtual visit with you all. And if you'll notice, there's nobody sitting around me because today I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm actually going to be interviewing myself. So I hope that you guys all bring your questions that you can ask me, because I'd love to clarify some of the things that I do and don't do around here, which it seems like the list of things I do is much longer than the list of things that I don't. So I'll start with a little bit of history about my own self. So I actually grew up in Cumberland. Technically, I'm not from here, and anybody who's also not from here understands that even if you lived in Cumberland for like over 50 years, you can't technically say you're from here unless you were born here and your parents were born here and all that good stuff. So I moved here in 1999 to a little hobby farm, and that's kind of where my roots were. So I ended up getting my first job at a horse stable, which was a small business outside of Clayton. From there, I've worked at Bonacasa Foods. I worked for Jerome's over by Barron at their Arabian farm, and I deeply love that job, but you just kind of have to grow sometimes. So I ended up, after that, working for the Rolling Oaks over in Barron for another small business owner just starting out. And then I was hired at Nelson's, which is where I kind of started to work in Cumberland and figure out what it was about this little town that I loved so deeply. So I started in the deli at Nelson's, and I ended up kind of moving my way up. And finally, when I became the bookkeeper, I realized that I loved what I did. I just thought that there was just something more for me to do. So I was approached by a gal, Polly, and she owned Idlewild Outfitters. So I ended up working for her for some time. And funny enough, she is the reason that I have this job right now. It's kind of wild that I ended up here because I had worked for so many small businesses around town, and I just kind of wondered, what is it that the chamber does for us? I hadn't had a lot of experience with them, and she says, they're looking for somebody to fill their position, and I have this feeling that you would be a good fit. And not understanding exactly what they did, I thought, I don't know if I'm qualified for that, but heck, I'll give it a try. So I got hired then back in March, and then the whole world shut down. And since then, I've been kind of trying to figure out what it means to be the chamber lady. Because as many of you may or may not know, the chamber does a ton of stuff. It's more so than just running the Rutabaga Festival. They also do the farmers market in town and a bunch of other small events throughout the year. Because the chamber's mission is to serve the city of Cumberland and its surrounding trade area in the matter of improving its economic status and building a better community. So there's been a lot of organizations throughout the years that have tried to do just this. The JCs ran the Miss Cumberland pageant for quite some time. The Gap did the fireworks and the ice fishing contest, which we actually took over in the last couple years and have been putting on since. And there was also CABA, which was the Cumberland Area Business Association. And I might be mistaken, but I think they had something to do with the music on the lake that goes on now during the summers. There was also the Cumberland Placemakers, and if you're not familiar with what placemaking is, it's basically coming up with a reason for people to come not only to Cumberland to do things, but to stay and take classes or visit the local businesses, really. Now, I see a lot of people just joined us, so I'm going to say again that if you have any questions, I would love for you to put them in the comments. I'll try to get to as many as possible. I get a lot of random questions from people about things that they think the chamber might know about, and I would love to hear anything that you guys want to know about, or questions about the job, really anything in general. So getting back to what the chamber does. So we do Rutabaga, like I mentioned, and then some of those other small events that we do are a Business After 5, which is kind of a networking event. They're really great to do for newcomers. You can get to know a local business, but also some of the business owners. Sadly, we haven't been able to have one since COVID, but now that things are starting to look on the up and up, hopefully we can have one pretty soon. So we also do the Scarecrow Contest, which is in the fall. the flower contest, which will be coming up pretty soon here, which is a really cool thing that they started doing as a way to sort of motivate the business owners to put some flowers and beautify their storefronts, because that curb appeal is really what catches people's eye and gets them to come and stop in our town. We do this Citizen of the Year, or the Outstanding Citizen Award, every year, and that is presented at our annual members banquet. Do the Industry Appreciation Golf Outing, the Bag of Bunnies, which we just did this spring, and that was the first one that I did. And I gotta say, you guys, I'm not much of a kid person, if I'm gonna be totally honest with you, but it was so fun to see all of the kids come with their little rutabagas and get their little baskets. That was a really cool time. We also do the Safe Trick or Treat and the tree lighting. So those are the events that we do throughout the year, and that's really what the community sees from the chamber and what we do. But there's a ton of other stuff that I do on a daily basis. Like if you just heard the phone ringing, that happens quite a bit because people have all these questions and I think they're not sure where they need to be going to ask them. So I get questions like, can you issue me a permit to rent one of the buildings down at the park? Sorry guys, I can't do that, but I can find you who does need to, and those actually are through City Hall. No, I don't know who is buried in the local cemetery. I can get you the information of the person who does, but you would actually be surprised at how often I get that question. So I'm not in charge of Art in the Park or the art festival that goes on down at Tourist Park in June. That's the ETC. And I did hear just this weekend that they are planning on having it, but there's going to be some more information that they'll release pretty soon. This one is one that I think a lot of people get tripped up on. I actually can't sell you chamber bucks out of this office. All of that is actually through Cumberland Federal Bank. So that's where I'm going to send you if you come to me asking for chamber bucks. And this one I get a ton of, and I would love for you guys to help me out with. I don't know that we have a notary service in town. I always send people to the banks. So if the banks have been noticing a lot of people coming to them asking about getting stuff notarized, that's why I'm sending them there. If anybody does know about a notary in town who would rather have me send business their way, I would appreciate if you would let me know. But there are a lot of things that I can do to help you. I can tell you suggestions about businesses if you have questions regarding maybe building, or I get landscaping a lot. That's one that people always want to know about. People wander into my office and they want a map of downtown, and I can get you that. So I'm kind of the greeter of new people that are coming to town. And I let them know a little bit about our town, about our history, a lot of questions about the Rutabaga Festival, which I love talking about. But I'm just the first person that they see when they come to our city, and they might be thinking about moving here or just more information about what goes on around here. So dreams, goals that I have for the Chamber of Commerce, and now I've only been here a year and I got really lofty dreams about a lot of things. So what I would like to see is the Chamber of Commerce improve on its cultivation and development of the young professionals or the young business owners in this area. Especially in the last year, we've had a lot of new businesses come in, and I'm really excited to see that they're people my age, actually younger, a little sting to me, feeling like maybe I haven't quite gotten there yet. But I think these guys could really benefit from some professional development things that might help them to just be better and provide better for our community overall. This kind of plays into the fact that I see a lot of people who are my age and they're off in a big city, and that's great, and they're learning all these wonderful skills, and then they bring them back to Cumberland, and it just kills me that they weren't able to stay in our area that whole time and bring those skills to us throughout their career and with their growth. What I would like to see in Cumberland's future, like as a whole, is just more collaboration between like the business owners, local government, other nonprofits in the area. I have seen a ton of different organizations that are really wonderful with what they do, but I'd love to see us all kind of step out of our silos for just a minute and see if we can't achieve even greater things if we all come together. Well, that's really about all I've got for you guys. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear them. Even if it's just after this live video. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask me. That's a huge part of my job, is just answering people's inquiries. I have such a connection to the city. I mentioned really early on that I grew up out in the country, and so I never really felt that connection to our downtown. And after I started working for a few small businesses, I realized that a dream of my own was to be a small business owner. And so every little step that I've taken to get to where I am, I feel has sort of started to prepare me for that. And I'm very, very grateful for everybody who has given me a chance, and especially to the Chamber of Commerce for allowing me to be on the other side of that, to be part of the economic development portion of a city instead of just in my own little space, my own little corner at one of the small businesses. And so I'm very grateful for the journey that I've gotten to have. And I'm thankful for all you guys that sat down and listened to me today. Just so you know, next week I'm going to be at Ficacello's Salon and Spa, and I'm really excited because I love it there, and I love David and Diana. They're wonderful people. But that one is going to be happening at 9:30 in the morning. So join me about half an hour earlier next week. And as always, please send your questions whenever you can. Thank you.